Well, this is definitely a first for the Foolish Fish channel, my reviewing a Kindle book, not even a paperback book. But this isn't any old Kindle book, this is Magical Destiny, the very latest book from Damon from the Gallery of Magick. And from what I understand, this is supposed to be the final book in the series of Gallery of Magick books. Now, will it actually be the final book? I can't tell you. I can't guess. But from my understanding, this is the final one. We've been waiting for this one for a long time. He's announced it a few years ago, actually, and it's finally here. And yeah, let me just go through it with you very briefly. First of all, the topic, of course, experience the power of your holy guardian angel. Now, traditionally, the holy guardian angel has been understood to be this really grueling, difficult procedure, and Georg Den recently made a new translation of the Book of Abramelin, which had previously only been translated by Samuel MacGregor Mathers, a very poor translation of a very poor source. I think it was a translation of a translation of a badly transcribed source, so just no chance of getting it right. And yet, many people achieved knowledge and conversation with their holy guardian angel using the Samuel MacGregor Mathers version. But it's at the begin. I think was it 2011. I think this was translated. And people started realizing that, hold on, we've been doing it all wrong all this time. Well, Damon Brand kind of addresses this, saying, well, if the version of Samuel MacGregor Mathers was so flawed, how come it worked? So that's actually what he goes into in quite a bit of detail and a degree of redundancy, actually, in the first half of the book. I'll talk about that redundancy, which seems quite annoying at first until you realize why he's doing it, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But just to go over a couple of the other books on the Holy Guardian Angel that you might be interested in if you want a more traditional approach, a more, let's say, occult approach, I suppose. I mean, is there such a thing as a more occult or less occult approach to the Holy Guardian Angel? I'm not sure. This is Holy Damon. This is the hardcover, which is out of print now, but you can still get the paperback edition from Scarlet Imprint. And then you have the Holy Guardian Angel, which is a compilation published by Nephilim Press, but I think it's I forget his name. Anyway, quite a few very well-known names there. Aaron Leach and Frater Ashen Shassan, and of course Frater Rufus Opus, and so on and so forth. Jason Miller. Yeah, they're all here. But I think it was actually Mike Cecchitelli. I'm not sure that's the correct pronunciation, but I think that he was the one who got them all together to write about the Holy Guardian Angel. And I think that this was actually the first time that I read just people's opinions starting to switch towards the idea that maybe the Abramelin ritual is not the only way. And then, of course, Frater Asher, shared his own ritual, his own method that he used to achieve knowledge and conversation, which is still pretty grueling, although he gives a much easier method towards the end of the book here that anyone can use. So, but for sure, the easiest and most accessible version that I've read so far is this one, right? I mean, the Gallery of Magick are known for making magic approachable. That's kind of their thing, right? They've taken traditional methods and reduced them down to their core, to what's absolutely essential. They practiced and experimented and come to the conclusion that this is going to work if you do it just like this. It's perfectly safe if you do it just like this, and then they put it out as a method that anyone can actually follow. very easily. Now, I was telling you a little bit about the redundancy in this first half of the book. Now, I know it doesn't look like half of the book because it's just a few chapters, and this looks like much more, but each one of these is actually quite short. Okay, so this actually represents about 53% of the book, and it's an introduction, and it feels like a very long introduction, although every step of the way during this long introduction, I was going, yes, you have got the right idea there, Damon Brand. I completely agree with his ideas the whole way. Although I am very aware, as he is aware, that many occultists are going to be either bored or disappointed, or feel patronized, which is, they're valid feelings, of course. But my feeling is that the Gallery of Magick books are designed for people who are new to the practice, and I feel like this is great. I feel like it's absolutely great. Let me talk about the redundancy at last, after telling you that I'm going to talk about it for quite a while. He says the same thing over and over again. Like the third time you read about why it's the way it is, you start to think to yourself, okay, I got the message like the first time. But the thing is that the reason why he's going over it so many times is so that by the time you start doing the work, all of these answers are going to come to you very naturally when the doubt arises, right? Because naturally, when you're actually doing the work, you're going to have questions. You're going to think to yourself, am I wasting my time? You're going to think to yourself, why is this going to work? What should I expect? And things like this. And you will know the answer because he's told you 3-5 times in that introduction the answer to the questions that might arise for you in this section over here. And because you have the answer, the work can be successful, right? Instead of getting stopped in your tracks because you have this doubt, instead of opening the door almost all the way and then being assailed with doubt or with questions and then forgetting where you were at or up to and then having the door slammed in your face again. Instead of that happening, you will have the answer that you thought you needed, and you can forget about all of that and you can actually get on with the actual work. I think that his introduction is possibly the most important part of all of this. I know it's the part that many people are going to skip. In fact, I believe that many people are going to skip straight down to the bottom over here, which actually has some pretty sigils, right? And that kind of gets people excited, right? However, he does actually make it quite clear that this stuff at the very bottom here, the final parts here, this quest, what does he call it? The quest for contact. This is really just the final steps. Right, but you can't be taking those final steps if you haven't walked up to the door. Right, it's like having the key. This tells you how to turn the key, kind of thing. Right, but there's no point in knowing how to turn the key if you don't have the key and if you haven't walked up to the door yet. So that's kind of the order of play here. These protocols, these 7 protocols. Oh man, so beautiful. Very simple, and yes, many practitioners are going to feel patronized, right? They're going to feel like there's nothing to these. They're very simple. I can tell you the first one, which is, in fact, in his own words, the most important one, which is just to try. right? There's a little bit more to it than that. There's actually a gesture to perform, but yes, I mean he makes a very good point. So many people talk about how hard it is to get in touch with their holy guardian angel, but have they actually tried? Have they actually, done anything intuitively or otherwise? Have they actually made an attempt to contact their holy guardian angel? And it's a very good point, right? So protocol 1 is to just try, make yourself available, make yourself open, and try. And so those protocols are those kinds of ideas. So they're not rituals as such. And if you've grown used to the Gallery of Magick's techniques, which are quite prescriptive, do this, say that in this way, and pronounce it that way, and face this direction, and do it so many times, and wait for your result. This is much less prescriptive. He actually says that a lot of this needs to be intuitive. A lot of this needs to be you just reaching out. And yet he also gives you ways in which to reach out. So exactly what a fresh practitioner would need, as well as this fantastic introduction, which is half the book, which tells the new practitioner what to expect, what they're actually reaching out for, and why this looks the way it looks, right? Why these practices, why these protocols, why these sigils look the way they look, and so on and so forth. So all the questions are answered in advance so that they don't get in the way of the practice. All right. Now, why do I recommend the Kindle edition? Particularly on the tablet? I would say that for this particular book, it doesn't have to be on tablet. You could very well read it on a Kindle device in black and white, because there are no colors, as opposed to most other Gallery of Magick books, right, where red features very prominently, and you can only see the red if you're reading it on a tablet. The printed books are all in black and white, and on very, very poor quality print as you go paper. So that's the reason why I always recommend that you read Gallery of Magick books on a tablet. And you can see that I've got my background set to black with the words in white. That's because I've just spent the past 10 years, maybe a little bit more, in the world of IT. And those guys taught me that when you're staring at a screen for long periods of time, if you've got black letters on a white background, you've got all of that white glaring in your eyes, and it tires your eyes very, very easily. It looks kind of weird when you start reading white letters on a black background, but I can tell you that I can read white on black for hours. Whereas black on white, I do get tired after about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So that's the reason why I've got white on a black background when I'm using a backlit screen like a tablet, right, or on a computer. Where was I up to? I know that this particular book, right, this Magical Destiny, is available as a hardcover, and I wasn't aware that there were any other books in the Gallery of Magick series that had been published in hardcover. My expectation is that it will also be print as you go, so the quality is not going to be worth spending a lot of money on. My recommendation is always going to be read Gallery of Magick books on a Kindle device until they maybe. This has been hinted and teased, but I don't think they've actually come to a final conclusion whether they're going to do it or not yet. They have hinted that they may release all of the books as a thick compendium in a nice quality. And if they do that, then of course I'll be the first person on the waiting list. But in the meantime, yes, this is the way. This is the right way to read those books. I actually read my copy on my phone. It's just yeah, just the way I happen to have read it. So there we go, guys. That's my review of Magical Destiny. I hope it was somewhat useful for you. Please be aware that if you're the kind of magician who gets the majority of your joy out of performing traditional rituals and getting dressed up and using various paraphernalia and so on and so forth, this may not be the right technique for you. But if the main thing you're after is making contact with your holy guardian angel, yeah, I can't recommend this enough. This is super. This is absolutely fantastic and absolutely what the domain needed. So great gratitude to Damon Brand, as always, for democratizing magic, and this is probably the most important one, right? This is probably the most important thing that any occultist can do. I know it's been the opinion of many occultists, and it's absolutely, definitely my opinion. So yep, that's all I've got for you this evening, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and to subscribe down below if you haven't done so already. It's a pleasure as always. I'll see you again soon with another video. See you soon. Bye bye.